Growing up, I was a pretty shy kid. I hung out with the same group of friends from elementary school all the way through middle school. But in high school, that all changed because I started to realize that hanging out with the same kids year after year after year, even if they are really interesting and cool, can still get boring. So I decided that it was time that I branch out and make a couple new friends. I use comedy to do that because that's really the only way that I knew how at the time. And I found that with each new friend that I was making, they were all telling me how funny I was. So I took that into consideration and I decided to join a talent show. As it turned out, I won that show, but after it was over, I still thought to myself, there's no way that I'm ever doing this in public, in front of people that I have no idea who they are, no idea what they like. There's no way I'm doing it. I was perfectly content with just doing shows in front of my friends. A year later, I was still only doing those shows, but that all changed one day. We were on a trip to Washington, D.C., and we stopped at a mall. This was a school trip. We stopped at a mall to get some food and anything else you could need at a mall. So I grab a couple of my friends, pull them over to the side. I say, hey, I'm about to do something funny. You should come with me. So they grab a couple of their friends. Their friends grab a couple of their friends. And before I know it, I got a pretty big group of kids following me around. So I bring them to this Louis Vuitton store. I tell them all to wait outside. So I've got a pretty big group of kids watching me from outside of the window of a Louis Vuitton store. For those of you who don't know who Louis Vuitton is or what they sell, it's a handbag store, basically. They sell really expensive handbags. So I walk in, I grab a bag, I bring it over to the counter, I say, how much is this bag? That guy tells me a little bit about it, and he ends up saying, oh, that's $2,200. My eyes widen because I had no idea that bags could be that expensive, but I had an audience watching. I couldn't back out now. So I reach into my pocket, I pull out my wallet, I pull something out of my wallet. It's a Subway card, it's for $5. I say, was this going to cover it? The guy looks at it, he gives me a disgusted look. Kicks me out of the store, everything. The guards came over to tell me I had to get out. But it made my friends laugh, and it made all the kids that I didn't know laugh. I thought to myself as we were walking away, if I can do this in front of all these kids, in front of a cashier who's probably disgusted at me now, in front of guards who could have beat me up, I don't know. If I could do it in front of them, I could do it in front of an audience. At least if I do it in front of an audience, they're not going to beat me up if I mess up. Well, I hope they won't. But because of that, I found myself in a place called the Comedy Lounge about a month later. To be honest, that place was a dump, but it was a dump with open mic night, taking anybody. So that's where I was. So I walk up on stage, and you're probably thinking, oh, this place was packed. I mean, I was performing there, the place was packed, but honestly, there was less than 10 people there. It was a very slow night, so I ended up just having one-on-one conversations with people in the audience for my whole time, which wasn't very long. It was only about 5 minutes, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But that's all I did. But for some reason, they found it funny and they enjoyed it, so I kept going. Eventually, after I kept doing this more and more and more, getting better and better at it, someone came up to me and they offered me actual money to do a show. I was taken off guard because I've never got that offer before. So I accepted it almost immediately without even asking how much it was. As it turned out, it was only $20, but that wasn't what matters to me. What mattered to me was getting up there, getting more experience, because in my mind, I was basically famous. I was one step away from Comedy Central shows, world tours, TV shows, and movies. The whole 9 yards, everything. I was one step away from all that. So I went up there, I did the show, 10 minutes maybe. Everybody enjoyed it. They enjoyed it so much, and I had so much fun doing it, that I never did another show after that, because I went to college. But that's beside the point. The point is, I found something I loved. I pushed myself to get better at it. I kept doing it even if I got scared or out of my comfort zone. And I think it's really important to do something like that, because if you don't have anything that you love, if you're not doing anything you love, then why bother doing anything?